Can invite everyone to take a nice deep breath, please. Just be present here in the moment. So I'm being present just to see what the impromptu communication is going to be during this time. I feel very excited about forward movement and progression. And for so many of you, you are on the cusp of moving into the greater expansion that you've been preparing for. But what's interesting is that as we prepare and as we evolve, sometimes right at that new opening of something that we've been waiting for is about to take place, a new path or a new direction will call to us. And sometimes we can think that that's a distraction, but there's opportunities to actually explore your much more expanded horizon. So if you think about a canvas that you have painted this wonderful, magnificent piece, but then once you think that you're complete, there's something else that calls to you that says, oh, but I feel like it needs this. It's perfect as it is, but something else feels like it should be a part of this experience. And instead of starting a whole new canvas to start painting that new on, you find a way to integrate at least some component within the piece that you've completed. And then maybe you do go on and start a completely different blank canvas, right? This is more likened to different chapters in our lives where we've been in a certain storyline for quite some time, and then we make the decision on whether a whole new book is starting or the narrative is just shifting as a new chapter is emerging. So you can look at what I just shared being much like that, is that there's a component within the completion of what seems to be emerging. There's a component of something new, but you're still in that picture on that canvas in a sense that's been painted and just now starting to expand. And so then that means what's coming up next for you takes a different turn. And what I mean takes a different turn, meaning it can all still be the experience, but now that there's a new component added, that means there's an additional aspect of the trajectory that has expanded. All right. And now there's something for you to consider, is something that's integrated within the experience. So you want to be present as you are moving forward with these expanded paths that are opening up, because it could be more than one. And there's an opportunity to do the integration of these experiences. Now, some of which you won't be able to really expand that context too far because it's something new, and it may be something new that you're embarking on, even a new skill that you have to learn, or a new role, a new position or so that you will be taking on. And you're going to have to get into the groove of that. You're going to have to learn that. But in this stage now, as you are coming up to what seems to be this completion phase, then you have something new that's calling to you that, again, may require you to now do something different to prepare for that next level. Or it simply could be that a new context of a vision or a mission or a role comes into fruition, and you are fully ready to step into that. And maybe you didn't see that coming, but yet it is something that is a little bit, I don't say too good to be true to pass up, but it just, you'll feel the alignment. one of the reasons why this is important, I feel that I'm being guided to share about this, is because we are shifting so rapidly and having to know ourselves in some newer ways. And so even being able to trust our discernment and even understand some things that maybe that's not really what you want to do or you feel called to do, but it could be still a part of the experience that you need to explore. So you're going to have to trust your discernment. You don't take everything at face value, so to speak, or even feeling value, so to speak. You want to not spend too much time pondering over it, but you want to get into your knowingness to know if this, in fact, is something for you to explore. And if it's coming up, why now? Why now is it coming up? And maybe it doesn't mean what you might literally think it means, but there could be something about what's unfolding, what's opening up, that is designed to get your awareness to awaken you to something else, right? So you do want to take the time to be present. The reason why I'm so excited about this is because it stretches you into a place that you've never gone before. Sometimes we hold on to certain formats of certainty, and we are being called to expand our faith and to come to know ourselves, as I mentioned earlier, to come to know ourselves in a very unique way, in a new way. When you start really engaging life in this fashion, you are in relationship with the whole of your experience, which is very important. This is where most people lack the knowledge and awareness to not just their next steps, but also what could help them achieve their optimum way of living and being, is because they don't have that direct connection with themselves. They don't have that direct connection with life in terms of having a solid relationship. So what's coming up for me to speak about at this moment is you now having this relationship with, yes, the present moment, but also the emerging next frame for your life. And the reason why frame is coming to mind, I have a background in media communications. And so when putting together film and doing it in nonlinear editing, it's these frames that they don't necessarily build upon frames. The frames are shot already, and then the frames are placed accurately. They're positioned where they need to go. And you will get the opportunity to kind of look and scan your life, have a quick life in review, and start to look at how you can divinely start to assimilate these frames, right? But you have to be in relationship with the different frames. So an example of this is, let's say that you have done a lot of spiritual work, or a lot of inner work, and you know you've done the work and you have experienced some benefits from that in terms of peace, or just something that lets you know that some things have changed based on that work. But then there's the part where it seems like there's nothing that has really changed, nothing that you can fully authenticate to say, yes, I see the totality, the fullness of the benefits of doing X, Y, and Z. When you're in times where you don't see that, this is the time to actually be in relationship with the frames, because where you don't see progress, it could shape up at another point, and then you see the manifestation of it. It's almost like bamboo, how Chinese bamboo grows. It's planted and you see nothing for the first 4 years, because underground it's developing that strong, solid root system. And then in the 5th year, it shoots up over 80 to 90 feet high, almost like, again, overnight. So though you don't see anything, but because the work has been done, then it's the opportunity to be in relationship with that frame so that you can move it accurately, because it's going to be where obviously something like that would be positioned close towards the end when something has sprung up, right? Now, the middle journey, in terms of how you just place this in your mind, it allows you to see the evolution of who you are. And that's really important because most people don't actually take the time to look and track their evolution. It's just going through the process, hoping to get from here to here, but not actually looking at the greater gifts that are contained within each experience, right? So being in relationship with those frames, being in relationship with the present moment and that which is emerging so that you can have more creative control and authority in terms of how your future, or the next now I call it, starts to shape up. There's so much about the journeys that we've been on where at times we feel powerless and helpless to be able to move ourselves beyond a certain point. I talk more about this in my divine human metamorphosis work, my divine human butterfly work, where there are times when you're in the cocooning of your experience and you are in an unformed state where you literally can't bring yourself together no matter how hard you tried, because you would have to let that journey, that process ensue, come to its completion, right? But as you continue to grow, and that's what's been taking place in your journey and your experience, now you do actually have some creative authority, but it's a divine power that's within you now to know how to bring those frames into the right spots so that when you roll the footage of your life, then it's going to show up in accuracy. And so, yeah, this is exciting because I definitely remember times where in my metamorphosis, it's like I had no controls over what was taking place other than my attitude and mindset. But the circumstances, the dynamics that were surrounding or within my experience, in a sense, and involving others and their own experiences, I did not have controls over that or decision making in a meaningful way to impact a situation. No, because I was still morphing into what I was designed to be. And so that's important, is that most of you, again, have probably been there, but now we're in a new season. It's a new day, a new day. And now you can start to move in the world the way that you're designed to, and now actually be the person, yeah, that you are supposed to be. And that can shift and change. And that's why we're talking about, just in this context, the frame. What is your now frame and your next frame? And again, being in relationship. So how do you be in relationship with your present moment and your emerging next frame? Well, like any real relationship, physical relationship, though there is getting to know an individual, there's understanding, you know, there's compassion, there's communication. If I didn't say that, that's the number one thing for sure. You have to be building something, and you have to be communicating, you have to be connected, you have to be taking time. Love is communicated in time. So when you can give your time to something, time to someone, that is showing a high level of being committed. So that's what you would look to bring into this experience with your relationship with your now and your relationship with what's emerging. You start getting curious about what's emerging, and then start being playful about creating dynamics for yourself. And you can course correct along the way if something is not feeling as aligned or so. If you don't feel that you got guidance to hear from your life or from, your relationship with life or your intuition or through prayer, then sometimes you will still have to step out and kind of see. And then trust that all is going to work out. Romans 8:28 in the Bible says that God calls all things to work out to the good. So if it's all working out for your good and life is for you and life loves you, you can start to move truly within that expression. So as you are present with your now and your next, you can address it in that context in terms of, what is life calling me forth into now? What does my new now look like? Or what does my new next look like? And by asking that, you're actually trigger prompting your higher awareness, not to really seek answers outside of you, but to be able to hear that clearly from your own essence. So yeah, this is exciting. It is very, very much exciting. And this is the time where you need to be the champion to yourself, because you've been championing so many others, but you have to now start to sort of take your power back and reground yourself as you start to shift so that you can really launch into this new frame. So looking at the frames of your life, even if you're just examining the last 90 days, what has been springing up? I love how Isaiah 43, 18 and 19 talk about God doing a new thing, and the former has passed and it's making ways in the desert, and asking, do you see it springing up? It says, do you see behold, I'm doing a new thing, making rivers in the desert. Do you not see it springing up? Do you not perceive it? So I always like to do a 90-day life review where I examine my 90-day phases. And sometimes I will incorporate 30-day increments within that experience where I'm looking over the last 30 days and being present. And then coming back again and in another phase of 30 days, revisiting even what I had before. Then we get into kind of the final phase that's taking you into the actual 90-day kind of completion around that. But it's important to do the work. It is. It may seem tedious, which I don't know how it can be, because we're talking about your life experience. And again, connecting to life, being in relationship with life, and extracting the truth for your life. So with that being said, I am going to send forth tremendous blessings for you to up-level your relationship with the now, where the power is in the present moment, and your emerging next frame. Frame up magnificently. Take care and stay blessed.